Friday. What's up? It is Friday. Hey, if you held on to whatever you had out there, the sun's shining now. So congratulations, you made it through. What in the world all just blew through here earlier?
Oh, man.
Hope
I was wondering if I was
okay.
going to get blown off the road, man. I was driving earlier today. I was like, "Ooh, this thing is getting kind of sketchy." I was really debating if I was going to pull over. It was like 11:30.
Okay.
Out there in Cool Springs area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the freeway, and I was like, do I want to put on my blinkers here? Because I was getting a little nervous, and then it kept going, and then I went through it, and then it stopped and slowed down, and then I was like, yes. Yeah, when I start thinking that, because I'm the type of guy, I can roll right through it. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm not stopping. Yeah. I think I pulled over one when I was driving out of town, and it was pouring down rain. 2 times I sat under a freeway to hesitate, and I got so agitated. I had no patience. I just said, I can make it. I'm going to just drive slow.
Right back out in it, huh?
Yeah, I just sat there on the side of the road. There was some other cars there, too. And I sat there about 15 minutes, and I said, I'm going to just go slow and put my blinkers on the freeway now, driving out of town. That is the worst because you're nervous. Something happened. You're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you don't nobody close.
You know what I think all that wind was?
Well,
it's the wind blowing from Indy. All those big guys ran so fast yesterday.
Man.
Hey, man. Nolan Smith ran a 4.39. Freaking Byron Young ran a 4.43.
You see these dudes. I was sitting on my couch like, oh, my Lord. I kept on saying, what are they feeding these suckers? I mean, it was like nothing. I said, this guy would have blown me out. Then I laughed because right when I said that, they would then show like Hopkins or Diggs going against. They do the simulator with them running in, and a linebacker or outside pass rusher beats them. Boy, I'd be hot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just simulated me running 4.55, and that guy just. These guys, wow. Told you they're bigger, stronger, faster, man. It was a whole bunch of some of these D tackles. What was that D tackle from Northwestern?
Adabor.
Oh, I'll let you pronounce that name. Robert pronounced that name 10 times. No,
I don't know if I can do it half the time.
Adabor.
I got it.
That dude at 282, guys. Man. He ran a 4.49. He 10.5 or 10.5 broad jump.
Oh no, that didn't beat me.
Then he had a 37.5-inch vertical at 282 pounds.
That is that's impressive, man. This is just unreal. And I mean, it was a slew of guys. Now, even if we want to go into the Byron Young cat, who I said was twitchy, I'd say that all year.
Vert.
Oh, I wasn't shocked at all. Do you know his backstory? Because they were telling the backstory like he was at some academy. He wasn't even going to trying to play football. He was working somewhere. Yeah.
Boy, that worked out for him.
Here's what I have to say. I have to applaud Heupel and his staff. Because guess why? Development. All those guys from Tennessee were all recruited by Pruitt. All of them. So he was on point on talent. He just couldn't develop them, or they just really didn't like him. One of the two. I mean, I'm just serious now. I mean, I wasn't working with him. I don't know. I mean, to assimilate that kind of talent, all 7 of the guys that's there, he recruited them, and they were on his team. And they looked nothing like that until Heupel and his staff got there, and all of a sudden, whoo. So imagine most of these guys wouldn't even have been to the combine maybe, or we'd be further down the board if he was still the coach. Then, yeah, so Banks was there. I mean, he showed a solid performance. He showed what he is, an athlete, a big-time athlete, which I said, everybody know. And I think he can run better than most.
See, 4.53, I think is what Banks ran.
Yeah, he basically ran what I ran.
Like, bigger, stronger, faster.
These dudes, man. I wonder if we're getting a true picture of some of these guys. It's too many guys now running that fast. And I'm going, wow. They are really on top of this training and getting prepared. Not only for the interview questions, but also for all the drills. So, yeah, man, they're beating the test. I mean, at the same time, though, hey, you got to give hats off to them. These guys were flying. I mean, they were flying. I mean, tip the cap. But the Nolan Smith, yeah, he was upset at first, though. He thought 4.4. He said he wasn't running hard. He threw his phone. I saw that. And then they called him and said, you weren't running fast. I guess, I don't know who he was talking to, his agent or trainer, whoever did. And then they recorrected and said, official time 4.3 something.
Then he went and picked up his phone.
Yeah.
His His combine ranks since 2003 for anybody over 200. This was Adebawore, the guy you're talking about from Northwestern.
Oh.
His combine ranks since 2003 for the dudes over 275. His 40 is first. His broad jump is tied for second. His vertical is third. And then Nolan Smith, that deal was just one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. Then Kalijah Cansey, the defensive tackle, the huge dude from Pittsburgh, he ran a 4.67.
Yeah. They showed him his comparable. They even tried to compare him. I hate when they do this to Aaron Donald.
I know, because his arms are short.
Yeah, but they were all like, the comparable was right on point, and it was just like, but he's a Hall of Famer. Like, are you saying that he potentially could be a Hall of Famer? We have no idea until they get in the league. So, yeah. D-line and pass rush is deep. Yeah. I'm wondering if it's going to be deeper today they do the DBs. Like, what is going to be deeper? That or DBs? I think an O-line. I'm thinking they're the strength of the draft as far as you can get a quality player into the third, fourth round. Like a contributing player, and I mean contribute like starting or playing a lot on those sides of the ball, offense or defense. Yeah, I'm really intrigued by this. That's what I get out of all of this when I'm watching, not just, guys just looking like, like they're not from Earth. Yeah. And then today, the quarterbacks did their interviews, and yeah, guys, answering like they are franchise quarterbacks.
Will Levis said, I got a cannon. They asked him, why are you throwing today? He said, because I got a cannon.
Yep.
Hey, man.
I told you. And that did they ask Anthony Richardson? Like I told you, watch what's going to happen with Richardson and Levis, because they're kind of off the charts freak of nature type built guys. Yeah, people are going to lose their strong, minds. Fast, athletic, and big arms.
Yep.
And you're just going to start seeing the ball come out of their hand, and they're going to go, I can work with that. You can't teach that.
Yep.
And they say, I can teach them to be accurate. Yeah. So, yeah. And a little dynamo there, Bryce Young. What did he weigh at? Do we know? What did Young weigh? Or have they done that yet?
Not yet.
What did they measure him at, 5'10" and a half?
I don't think he's been weighed or measured yet.
Oh, yeah.
I did see a picture of from behind the podium when he was answering questions, and it looked like he was wearing some lifted shoes to make him look a little bit taller standing out there.
Because really? It's sponsored by No Bull, which is a shoe and apparel company.
Well, they're supposed to be wearing No Bulls. So everybody's wearing No Bull.
He was, and I swear they had 2-inch soles on them.
I'm serious.
I saw the same picture.
You do not have shoes on when they measure you. Let me just tell you that. It was funny. No, I didn't like the way they measured me. I did not.
Lean back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you lean back. You like a half inch away from the wall. You lean back. I wonder if they still do that. It was funny because I watched the NBA draft. They measured their guys with shoes on. Yeah. I thought like, well, dang. Maybe I would have been 5'11", then I would have got drafted.
Crap, I would have been wearing Bryce Young shoes if that's the case.
Yeah. So that's a difference there in approach. But, hey. It is what it is. Everybody's going by the same measure, so it's all even, Steven. I'm afraid that, Young comes in at, 5'10" and a half, but it's the weight. If he weighs like 180, 185, I'm like, dang.
If I was that young and I'd be eating so much pasta, you couldn't stop me. I'd be eating every second of every day, just piling weight on.
Would you do any of the drills and run? Because if I had to do that, only thing it won't affect is my arm. But it's going to reflect on how fast you run and doing your drills.
What's he not doing? He's not throwing, right? Young's not throwing.
He's not throwing?
No. He's going to throw a pro day.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I was him, I'd do anything. I'm serious. Because I'm like Robert. I'd be eating so much pasta. I'd be eating. Call your shot is at 2:45. You can go ahead and start sneaking those into the Zone TV chat or tweet us at Blaine and Mickey. I got 2 to call. Ooh. I'm going to go ahead and let one out of the bag. Ooh. I think Young is going to weigh 204. 10 more than he's listed at 194. I went back and looked. I think he's going to weigh 204. I think he has eaten his way to 204. Oh. Now, I think if you saw him on the street in a week, he ain't going to weigh 204. I think he's going to weigh back to what he did.
Oh, man. Could we tell in his interview, did he look like, or did he have on that hoodie like everybody else?
The hoodie's going to cover it up. But
his guns wasn't,
It's all about the weight that's on that card. When they look back at it and everybody wrote everything out, what he weigh in at, what was his height at, and whatever that was that card is gospel.
Yeah. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, he's the same as Kyler Murray. The weight is distributed differently. Kyler Murray has some thick thighs. This dude is a thick-built guy. And I definitely know he didn't weigh no 185. I don't even have to go. I know he didn't. So it's different. But what I can say is I think he needs to be in somewhat similar offense to help him in the NFL where it's kind of spread out a little bit and seeing the field internally won't be a huge issue. And by the way, that's what I'm hearing about why Russell Wilson was having issues there at Denver. Nobody knew he couldn't see inside the pocket running plays, and that's why he was having issues, and that kind of tweaked him, and he was getting balls batted down at the line of scrimmage on like slant passes and things of that nature. So he needs somebody like Sean Payton to come in there because he's worked with Drew Brees. You're a little deeper in the pass sets, and then you can actually see, and they can make better throws, even if they're on the shorter throws. So that can become an issue with Bryce Young as well in the league, even though I love it. Like, he's a magician out there. I mean, I think he's kind of, Steph Curry type player. Like, he's just like, he's a little thin. Well, he keep making plays, man. I don't know. At some point, you got to let that go. So I want, I think he's going to be the first guy, right, Robert? Yeah, he's still going to be that guy.
What'd you say Kyler Murray weighed at the combine?
He weighed 207 at the combine.
See?
Russell Wilson weighed 206.
Oh, see? Those dudes are thicker guys. You can just see it. But when you look at Young, I mean, he looks a little like he doesn't look like usually had those protruding thighs. Like, they had that extra layer of curve right above the knee, and you can see it in their pants. That doesn't look like that with him. It does not. And I love him. I love him as a player. Like, even against Tennessee, that going back and forth, I thought he did enough to help his team win. I think there were some things on offense they messed up on that they should have done to help him. But, man, he was incredible.
We got a whole incredible show coming up for you. The Incredible Buck Reising in hour number 2. But when we come back, Blaine has a question that is going to blow your minds. Because you got to pick one, and there's 4 choices. And really, there's a 5th choice if you want to just be, but you can only put 4 on a poll question.
Right.
So we got a big question for you. Your phone calls, anything you liked, you didn't like, that you've seen at the combine so far. There has been a lot going on. Fast, big guys. We need to talk to Blaine about the DBs because Porter's going to run and Julius Brents is going to do his thing. And he was just under 6'3" when they measured him, which is really, really tall. And there's lots of stuff to get to on this Blaine and Mickey Friday. So stay around.
"40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind:
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
to sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40
Is it already that
years
time
of
of
Two
year
Rivers
again?
Ford.
We're making resolutions we hopefully can keep. Thanks to the folks at Cool Ray, they make taking care of your home's resolutions easy. Maybe it's to keep the heat on. That's a pretty important goal. And Cool Ray will help you take care of that with a $49 winter tune-up. And much like how the holiday treats have us needing to get back in shape, maybe your home's heating system needs a complete revamp too. That's no problem either. Cool Ray's entering the new year stocked up and ready with furnaces on hand, ready for next day installation. Plus, they still boast the lifetime parts and labor warranty on new Carrier home comfort system, including $0 in repair costs for the life of your system. And if your home truly is good to go, Cool Ray is even looking out for your personal resolutions too. So browse the coolray.com/careers page and kickstart your career with their industry-leading benefits and work-life balance. Spots are open for HVACs, service technicians, installers, plumbers, and electricians. So schedule your next visit or browse career opportunities at coolray.com. No phone call, no wait, no worries. You pick the date and time that works for you. That's coolray.com.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Combine is rolling on. The DB's about to get going here. The future Blaine Bishops of the world. Byron Young with a big day yesterday for the University of Tennessee. We will get to the question that the Hitman has for you guys, but Taylor in Nashville wants to talk about Byron Young, so let's just take Taylor's call and conference him on in here.
Got the backstory?
What's going on, Taylor?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Great.
Just crossed the Tennessee River heading west, so I don't know if I'm going to lose you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just roll with it, man. We got you.
I got Coach Byron Young at Georgia Military College. He came to our football combine. He was a general manager at a Dollar General over in Columbus, Georgia.
See, I told you.
Saw our flyer for a combine. Came to it in February of, I think it was 19. Made the team. We brought him on. Went there with us. Did a really good job for us there at GMC. Then COVID hit. We didn't play in 20. We knew some guys at Tennessee. Coach Osvet was up there on staff with Coach Pruitt. We contacted him. He wasn't getting a lot of recruiting. Byron wasn't. Contacted Coach Osvet. They went on him and pulled the trigger. And, of course, everybody else went in behind, and Auburn and everybody else started pulling the trigger, too. He stayed with Tennessee. He got up there in December. Then I guess Coach Pruitt, I think, was fired there in 21.
Oh, man.
Dang, he's about to give us some backdrop on Byron as far as talent and stuff. But yeah, told you it was a backstory. I knew he went to the military. I didn't know. I knew he was working, but I didn't know he was a general manager at Dollar General. Is that what he said? Yeah, Dollar General. Yeah. So yeah, I told you this guy had backstory. But soon as he showed up on the field, and they had to rotate him in because I think there was a minute there they were trying to check his eligibility status. But as soon as he got in, he was the most twitchy guy as far as a pass rusher. I said, man, who's that? Number 6. Boy, he get off the ball. I said, they gonna have to. I said they're gonna have to move Tyler Barron to the other side. Yeah, because he was twitchy, and then to see how he's all rocked up and how he looks.
Yeah,
and I can't. Oh my! And then how he was running people down, man. He might have pushed himself into the bottom of the first round. I'm serious now.
What a story, man.
They may go back and watch him. It's like, I was thinking second, middle, the bottom of second. Yeah, if not, he's definitely gonna go high in the second for sure. He's in the SEC, so you start saying, he's first rounder now.
Here you go, Jimmy Himes from 9/13/2021. Tennessee coach Josh Heupel says defensive end Byron Young has been cleared to play this Saturday after missing 2 games due to eligibility issues. Multiple stuff about him coming from JUCO and getting eligible.
Yeah, but boy. Hey, but they can say what they want to say about Pruitt, man. He brought in some dudes. He even brought in Hendon Hooker, who we're looking up here, and Bucky Brooks has him rated the number 3 quarterback, only behind Stroud at number 1 and Young at number 2, based off of Bucky Brooks.
So that's Bucky Brooks, who played in the NFL, that we've had on before. Guy does as good a job evaluating as anybody.
Played both sides of the ball, by the way, too.
Yeah, yes, he did. And special teams. He was a three-way guy.
He's a guru, yeah.
Mike Detillier essentially said the same thing. Like, he's other than Stroud and Bryce Young, I don't know who's better than Hendon Hooker in this draft. Hendon Hooker said he will be able to throw this. I think the way he phrased it, he can throw standing up next week. I guess, he can throw like from a seat.
Oh, well, no, that's not throwing.
Said he will
until
throw.
You could do backpedaling and drop him there.
He will throw standing up next week. Said he expects to be cleared for training camp. He had surgery in December. Expects to be cleared in training camp. September is 9 months. September is 9 months, I'm saying. Training camp is like rookies show up, the 26th of July to get their helmets.
Lucas got some really good audio from Hendon Hooker. I don't know if you guys heard it earlier, but I love when they get up there and they're cocky at the podium. I don't know what it is, but you made it all this way. You might as well strut your stuff.
Like Will Levis. Well, I'm going to throw because I've got a cannon.
Because I got a cannon, and Hendon Hooker is no different. Here's what he said when he talked about his abilities translating to the NFL.
Defenders can't guard my receivers. So my job is to get them the ball. And, so a lot of these questions about one-sided reads and stuff, we have pure progression routes. It's not my fault. My first read is getting open, but we have pre-snap looks, 1 high, 2 high, which side, double footwork combo. We have pure progression with an alert, with an option. So any of these questions, they're cool and all, but if you really dig into our offense and actually watch the film, then you would understand. It's elevated.
It's elevated.
It's not my fault nobody can guard my receivers. Like, way to just go up there and throw it on the table, man. Good for him.
Yeah, that could be a reason why that question is asked. That very rarely ever is going to happen in the National Football League. That somebody's going to be running wide open, and it won't be a contested throw.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the difference. And so it's hard for them to project, okay, how is it winning the NFL? You have to throw them open instead of they're wide open. And that's why he'll never be able to really answer. I thought that was a great answer, but theoretically, they want to see contested throws too. They want to see you being challenged. And, unfortunately for him, it was just easy. It could have something to do with the, scheme and system all you want to. He just didn't throw a lot of contested throws. Unfortunately, like you said, they were wide open. But what I would conform to say in that offense, it's almost like playing 2-minute offense in the National Football League. That's what Heupel runs. So you have to define your defense when in 2 minutes. That's why everybody gets mad. You go start playing 2-minute defense. They're kind of doing the no huddle. You have to define what you're doing. And so then the offense has the advantage. And then they throw, because every defense has a weakness or whatever it is. And then they throw and complete the ball and continue to move. Well, you're not running a 2-minute offense the entire time in the National Football League. So those things won't be defined. You will be under pressure. They will disguise and have time to disguise, which you don't in 2 minutes. And so that's why that's always going to be a question. I don't care who the quarterback is. Even, Milton, who's a super talented, big cannon arm guy, next year, if he becomes the guy, he's going to have to answer those same questions. It's not going to change. So it's not his fault, like he said. What I'm supposed to do? Throw to the dude that's contested, or I'm gonna throw to the guy that's wide open. So that's really it. It's nothing that he can do about it. And I think another question, not only I think Hooker's going to be a solid pro player and maybe potentially a starter at some point in this league. Is that Heupel's offense hasn't produced? Think about this. What quarterback has done well in the NFL that he's coached? See, so that narrative will stay there until it is not. So I thought the kid from Missouri was going to be solid.
Drew Lock,
not so much. Drew Lock, right? So he threw for a lot of yards. He was the OC there. So you can say he coached him up. So until that, changes, we believe that in the NFL that those quarterbacks can do well and that it's kind of a little different in college with the hashes and everything else. And you got to give credit to Heupel. They maximize the width of the field as well as the length of the field. So, but I think he's going to be solid. I think he's a sharp kid anyway. I don't think it matters. I think he'll figure it out even though maybe it's a little different in the pros than because I don't think he has a fear factor. Like, here's one thing about Marcus Mariota. When he first got into the league, at some points in time, once he started turning the ball over, he didn't dare to throw guys open. He wanted to, throw them when they were already open.
He had to see them
open. Because that's how college is.
Yes, yeah.
And so that's the difference. You throw guys open, or you have to be pinpoint accurate. I mean accurate. Like I'm running with a guy. Like, this is what happens in a game. You're running with a guy, and all of a sudden you see the guy maybe decelerate. You go, oh, the ball's not coming. You better not look. He may be decelerating to jump up and catch that ball on top of your head. Mm-hmm. So don't look, because they're all as the receiver, I'm always open. So that's the different league. They're going to throw that ball. They're going to throw it. In college, they don't throw that ball. So you're playing against better talented players too as well. The elite of the elite of the elite. So that comes into play too. But Hooker's he's gonna be fine. I just want him to be healed and don't rush, and then go to a place that fits him and it's not rushing him back out there, because he's going to try to rush himself back out there, kind of a la Bud Dupree. It's in your nature as an athlete that you can come back and be better than you were before. So hopefully he takes his time and does it the right way. That way it won't be lingering throughout his career. And you can get away with that sooner or later at quarterback too, by the way, to come back. Even though you mentioned it was 9 months, everybody heals differently, but that he can get out there with a brace on. He may not be as mobile as he was before, but be able to, be a decent quarterback as long as he's over the fear of getting hit on the knee.
It's funny because if you think of like stud quarterback in college, in a great system in college, it's a whole lot of that guy in the pocket, nobody around him, and like taking his drop and patting the ball and just throwing to some guy running uncovered, or a guy runs a route, a comeback or a curl, whatever, and his hands are up and he's looking right at him and he throws it to that guy. And I remember that being a Marcus thing. And Blaine, I remember watching a lot of Malik Willis in training camp, and then even when the games he played, where it's like, throw it, where you're saying, throw it, and the guy's not open. The guy's not open.
That's an adjustment for most guys, even the elite guys that go high and everything else. And hopefully Malik, he came from an offense that's totally different, kind of somewhat a little bit like Heupel's. Different, but somewhat the same. You're throwing to guys wide open, or if not, he was just running around playing. He was just a better athlete on the football field. So now you're not that guy. And so now you have to go through your progression reads, and you have to get rid of the ball, and you have to have a time clock. Remember, I kept on saying they don't have a horn over there. He got to get rid of the ball. It should be ingrained in you. And in the game, you getting rid of the ball. 1, 2, 3, ball's out.
Got to.
If you get to 4, then you better start running. You start maneuvering in that pocket. That's the difference.
Well, with him, he had twice daily over there. He was going to get to like 2.6.
Well,
he probably needed to go.
Well, as soon as he got the ball, he should have threw it there. Twice daily. Man. Sorry, man. And by the way, as much as I called him twice daily, I would bring him back at guard as a backup guard. Yeah. Because that's what he is. He unfortunately for him, he can't play tackle in this league. So I think that's what he was, and they tried to make it work because he was the best option in the coach's mind. Put that in quotation marks. But, yeah, I think Marcus had those issues, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think Hooker will have those issues early on that throwing them open, but you just never know. You just never know. Got to have, trust in your arm. I would definitely say Levis and Richardson's arm is definitely bigger than his, and anybody's coming out. No different than Milton was, but Hooker was the better player. See that? So you can have all the talent in the world. If you can't get out there and execute what you need to do, then no.
I think Robert's got a question for a hashtag Ask the Hitman.
Really, for both of you guys, if you got to tailor-make a spot for Hendon Hooker and, no draft, you just got to pick where he was going, where do you think would be the best place for him to go?
Tennessee Titans. Where you guess, Mickey? Because he gets 1 year to let his knee heal, and Tannehill's the guy for 1 more year.
Oh, you just blew a bunch of people's minds right there.
Got you. Bang. Like if he's there in the second round and you go
second round,
second round. If he's first round, you can't. I looked at some guys as free agents.
Let's go ahead and tell people we had a long talk before the show. What do they have to do in the first round?
They have to take an offensive tackle. I looked at a couple guys as free agents, what I thought would be, and they are the highest rated offensive tackles that's available. Orlando Brown Jr., naturally he's got the pedigree and everything else. I think they're going to franchise him, or he's going to get a big deal there in Kansas City. I don't think they're going to let him walk. But if he does, that's the dude you take. Now, one that Rand knows that I even kind of mentioned, I took a deep dive into him, and I'm talking about Greg Cosell type dive. And I did not like what I saw out of Mike McGlinchey. I was actually really disappointed. I guess because what I expected to see and what I didn't see. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of my notes on Mike McGlinchey from San Francisco, who Rand would know, who I thought, okay, we'll sign that guy, assuming since he started with the 49ers. We can sign him. We can move Petit Frere maybe, or he becomes a swing tackle, whatever. Or maybe we can put McGlinchey in left tackle because he played left tackle at Notre Dame. No, that'd be the wrong play. Here is my notes on Mike McGlinchey. Base is way too wide. His base stands too tall, Poor lateral movement. Lacks power at times at point of attack. Now, these are all things as a pass blocker, too, by the way. His run blocking on the positive was solid. He's got a mean, nasty streak to him. I like that. There was some things about that, he would miss every now and then, but he was solid there. So that tells me he's a right tackle. But one thing that was consistent is that he was inconsistent, and that's a no-no for me. That is a no-no. Consistently inconsistent is pass protection. And by the way, the 49ers tried to help him. They had Kittle's chip half the time. They would have tight splits by receivers that would chip. They even had the guard turn for him, especially when they was going against like Max Crosby or somebody who they was playing, twice a year or whatever it was. And I couldn't believe it. $14 million? No way. No how. No way. Rand Carthon, you sign Mike McGlinchey, you might as well sign your death warrant to get fired. That's what I saw. I saw a guy, on a positive note, I saw a guy when he made a mistake, he'd correct it. All right? So that's good. In game. The next time the guy kind of, beat him, he would. But then there was times when I think he got in his own head. This guy was the 9th pick in the NFL draft, I think 2018, somewhere around there. 18, 17, whatever draft it was. 9th pick. I didn't see 9th pick athleticism. I did not. 9th pick, boy, you supposed to be that dude that could play point guard if you went out here and played basketball and run circles around Robert. I think Robert would get him. No, he's not that dude. He's not, unfortunately. And it pained me because now I'm getting nervous for the Titans because then there's no free agent tackle that I like out there. Yep. And so now you got to draft a tackle. And maybe 2. Like you can get
6 picks.
But I know. You can sign another guy and they'll be role players, but they're not going to be a stud. I'm, unless you want to do a one-hit wonder with Peters, and I don't know what you think about a guy that's, he's going to probably potentially be a Hall of Fame player, but I don't want to go that route, because I don't know if he's going to be able to last. Like, it'd be because you 38, 39. I mean, dude, he got out there for a half of a quarter and looked good in the Cowboys game, and then, he pulled a quad. See? That's what happens when you start getting old, even though you still can play. Your body just starts breaking down. The wear and tear is just too much. So, and then I don't like the Fisher guys or any of those guys. Even the Undertaker right now, 3 years later, it's too late. You can't go. You can't do it. So, I'm getting really nervous. I'm hoping Orlando Brown Jr., whatever his name is, him. I hope they don't franchise and they'd come to no agreement. I haven't watched film on him, but I know he's number one. And he's a little inconsistent, but I'm not going to be talking about all this standing hall and base too wide, poor lateral movement. When I was like, what the? This is why the 49ers not going to re-sign him. Now, I'd sign him for $7 million per.
About half of what Spot Track says he's worth.
Which is 14, right?
14 and change.
No.
Yeah.
No. You talking about somebody going to get lit? I watched this dude. I'm going to be about as mad as when we lost to the Bengals in the playoffs 2 years ago.
Oh, you were mad that day.
Yeah, I was hot.
Yeah, you came in mad about schemes and
system. Well, I'd be mad about this dude. Loss. We paying $14 million and we got to help him. We might as well. We can get about somebody a little bit better than Daly. Be better than this dude. I was not happy with what I saw. Not for $14 million. So McGlinchey's. I don't think he's the answer. Now he is a good run blocker. I'm gonna give him that. But pass blocking, I'm thinking we pay $14 million. You can be by yourself. You the Lone Ranger. No, that is not happening.
Hi-ho Silver.
And I'm looking at Trent Williams on the other side too. By the way, watching. That's the guy I want. We ain't getting him, but I want something close to that. Granted, he's one of the best in the league, but I'm thinking this guy's younger, so he should be somewhere on par, close to that here, because he should start hitting his prime. Like you start getting 6-7 years into the league, you at your prime. You done seen all of it. Ain't nothing nobody can do to say I can correct and coach myself and I can fix it. So he did it at times, but then other times it's like, nah. I don't even think he believes he's super athletic in the league. You go back and watch college, though. He dominated dudes.
Mean. We got one more segment in this hour. Here's Blaine's question. Then I'll tell you, well, here's who I would say for Hooker. Eric Bieniemy, command skins. Sam Howell's a starter. He was a 5th-round pick. You could go there, let him do his thing while you get well. Eric Bieniemy, I think he could maximize what Hooker does.
Oh, that's the team
Going
you
back
picked?
to Robert's original question.
Yeah, exactly.
Command skins.
Where were you
Eric
thinking,
Bieniemy.
Robert? I'm sorry.
No. I want to know. You guys are way smarter about this stuff. I want to know where y'all are thinking, but it's kind of in line with what I was thinking. I was thinking somebody that has an established quarterback that they might be trying to get rid of in a year or two. So I'm thinking the Rams. I'm thinking Dallas. I'm thinking Minnesota. Any of those places where he could sit and chill and then come into a ready-made offensive set for him. Him with McVay and Cooper Kupp. I know their offensive line isn't exactly what it was when they went to the Super Bowl, but a situation like that where he could sit and learn with a very smart coach, if I could pick anywhere, I would probably send him to the Rams.
I'm sure all the quarterbacks would want to go to an offensive-driven, offensive play caller as the head coach. Yeah. No doubt about it, because if I was a quarterback, that's where I want to go.
We got to go to break. When we come back, Blaine's question. You can only, the big 4 Tennessee guys in the draft, Hooker, Darnell Wright, Jalen Hyatt, Byron Young. You can only pick one. Who are you going to pick? That's next.
I didn't miss that. Good.
Man, I hate to talk over this. We were talking about Memphis in the break, and then you drop this on me. You can't do that. Man. Boy, the great Al Green. That's got Blaine in here bopping. So the draft's coming up. Hendon Hooker spoke to reporters this morning. Darnell Wright has been just exploding up people's draft boards now.
I loved him since the Senior Bowl, man. That guy, he was balling.
And he just continues to rise up. So then tomorrow the receivers are going to work out. So how fast is Jalen Hyatt going to be? And if he runs fast like we think he's going to, then that's going to make everybody even crazier. And then dang, Byron Young, who was managing a Dollar General in 2019, goes and makes himself Lord knows how much money yesterday with a 4.43 40 as a defensive line.
Yeah, he ran faster than me. I think he pushed himself into the first round.
So all this is going on. So Director of Content Blaine Bishop throws this bombshell out to me this morning and puts it on Twitter. Which UT player would you want to draft the most? And I'll say Titan.
In the first round is what I put on
in the first round. So, and I'll say this because your team may be somebody else, but you would still be crazy if you didn't want some combination of these guys. Let's get LD in McMinnville first up to answer the question. Blaine and Mickey, Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. What's up, LD?
Hey, guys, I don't mean to poo-poo on your parade here, but out of those four, I would say none of the above. If the Titans can trade back, I take Tillman. I like Tillman as far as physical size. Hopefully he runs well. We'll see. But I think I'd take Tillman. Appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah. I would definitely say all around as a receiver, and you know how I love versatility.
Yep.
I think he is the better receiver. But we shall see what Hyatt does outside of his speed. We all know he's fast. I think he's going to run, high 4.2s. He's a track guy.
Three-cone drill.
The three-cone drill, I want to see his lateral quickness because one thing that was very clear to me about Jalen Hyatt, and I said this during the season, is that I never saw him catch a sharp pass and break tackles and make guys miss. It was one cut and go. So that's not how it's going to be in the National Football League. Guys are going to be coming from all over the place in that defensive end who said he was taught to turn and run. He making, $10 million. He's going to come get you. So you better watch out. So I want to see his lateral quickness there. I always saw him get tackled like that. And you would think when you have vertical speed, that doesn't mean you also have a lateral quick speed at a high level. That's what makes Tyreek Hill so great. His lateral quickness is not just his vertical speed. It's a different kind of speed with this lateral quickness, like a jackrabbit. Now it's a different deal, and most people are good at it. I didn't even think Jalen Hyatt, compared to his vertical speed, he was just average at it, and I want him to be above average. And I think Tillman is a better all-around player in the National Football League. He's more defined. Now, he may not be the burner because he's not at, but if he runs a high 4.4, 4.48, even a 4.51, because I love how he got off the line. I thought his quickness off the line was really, really, really good. Hyatt was never challenged on the line because they had him playing in the slot, and he was just running down the field like he was in a track meet. That's never going to happen in the National Football League. That's just not going to happen. So until I see that, do I know if he can really be as productive? Now, once he gets in open field, now he's going to be whatever. But I thought Tillman we must not forget, I know it was 2 seasons ago because he was hurt most of this year. He was the dominating player from all facets, from short, deep, mid-range.
He had all the hype in the world coming
route
into the
running.
season.
So I think he's the better all-around player to agree with. It would be more to my fancy. I know everybody, especially you, Mickey, and you're just like, a lot of people, and it is. Hyatt is a burner. There is no question about that. I just think there's more than being just fast in the National Football League to make you a great all-around player. And I just think Tillman is the better all-around player as of today. Now, if Jalen Hyatt works on those weaknesses that I talked about, then now it's a whole nother story because of his acceleration at speed. There's nobody like that. But he also has to get in the weight room, and I'm talking about he's long-limbed. I'm actually a little nervous on his health in the National Football League, which nobody has even talked about because he's kind of on the thinner side. And you can get away with that at receiver, but eventually at some point, you know, you got to get a little stronger to take some of those blows outside of just being tackled by, cornerbacks.
Let's pick this up on the other side. Draft talk continues again. The question is Hooker, Darnell Wright, Jalen Hyatt, Byron Young. You get to pick one in the first round. Who you going to pick?
Art Tillman.
Add the wild card in there, too. Well, my hack on this was going to be take one of those, and I was going to maybe sneak Tillman in the second when he runs his fast 40 because he said, y'all don't think I can run, just watch.
No, he can
Basically,
run.
it's what he said.
He can
y'all
run.
don't think I can run. Well, guess what?
Yeah, he can run.
He's going to run tomorrow. All right, we'll run to break. We'll come back. Buck Reising in about 25 minutes.
Ying.
What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. Combine's still going on. 2 o'clock. DBs are set to do some workouts, so we'll get to see if anybody breaks that 440 record, if anybody's going to hop on there and run fast. But speaking of running fast, Nolan Smith yesterday broke the record. Heaviest player to have a vertical over 40 inches and a 40-yard dash under 440 in Combine history. He ran a 4.39 in the 40-yard dash and had a 41.5-inch vertical. Let's see if somebody else can do that today. According to reports yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars are expected to place a franchise tag on tight end Evan Ingram. That tight end franchise tag comes in at $11.3 million. And this weekend, number 12 Tennessee taking on Auburn, 1 p.m. tip, 12:30 pregame. Also, Nashville SC taking on the New York Red Bulls. That is a 6:30 kickoff, 6 p.m. pregame right here with Will Bowling and Jaleel Anibaba. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Happy Friday to you. Windy. It's a windy Friday. Hold on to your hat if you go outside.
Hey, that's why I put on my hat.
Hopefully no damage for anybody out there. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Got a little wild run here. Got wild up in Kentucky earlier. Shout out to everybody up in Kentucky. But hopefully everybody made it okay. Got some clear weather, smooth sailing for a few days. So
He said some lights were out, right? He said some lights.
What did you say, Robert? Somebody called and said every traffic light from Briley Parkway
And up was out. Not even flashing, just the power was out. No stoplights that way. So proceed with caution.
Hey, don't be that guy who just drives through it. Treat it like a stop sign.
Be courteous. Come on. We're all trying to get home safe. Take your time.
Man. And I'm saying that, and the guy who's the problem is always the problem, and you're talking, and he doesn't know he's the problem. Don't be the guy who just drives through.
That's me at home when my girlfriend's like, anybody, make sure if you use the bathrooms, please flush. She's talking about me.
Right, and you're like, who would do something like that?
God, who would even think about that?
What awful person. DB's getting ready to do their thing at the Combine. Blaine actually spent that last commercial break getting ready to repeat his complete Combine workout. You were over there doing side straddle hops, and then you bench press Robert 27 times. And what do you weigh in these days, Robert?
I'm a svelte 225.
225.
Yeah, human 225 is different than the 225 on that barbell.
And Blaine was still repping me up, man. He even re-racked. Didn't even need a help.
27 times. Robert was just stiff as a board, man. He had his upper body and one leg. Right. He was just putting him up.
Yeah, that actually probably hurt me after looking back. They said, what corner bench presses 225 27 times? There no corners do that. And then he too sharp to be a safety. Man, I don't know, man.
Know what to do.
They didn't know. They was a good football
idea.
player. And that's what happens. You go there, that's how you get to the 5th to 7th round.
Well, this guy jumped really high. Gosh, he's strong as an ox.
He's an athlete, so he's strong, and he's a good football IQ. He's sharp, but he a little stiff in the hips.
Oilers thought, we'll call him, tell him, 4th round they called you? Hey, man, we're thinking about taking you.
Yeah, the will be. Mm-hmm.
What round did you go to the library before you finally just said, screw it?
I was so hot as fish grease, 6th round.
6th round.
You know, that was the year, even though I was 214, which still exists, same as Cortland Finnegan, that was the first year that it was 8. It was reduced from 12 to 8.
Yep.
And so I left 6th round. I went to the library. I said, I think I need to study for this test I got tomorrow. Because, that Sunday, it used to be that 3-day deal. So I was pretty perturbed. I was hurt, actually. Because when I started seeing guys go that I was like, well, I know that guy's not better than me. It wasn't like, that's up to debate. No. I started seeing guys, and that when I started happening, I was like, okay, this is where we're going. So I think that was really the start of the Hitman.
You hit the library, then you hit everything after that.
Yeah, I hit the library, make sure I studied for that test. And then the Oilers called me at that time. And I said, I don't believe you. Just imagine that.
Who called you?
Halivac.
Oh, okay. Who was the GM at the time? People don't know.
I said, I don't I said that before. I said, but I'm at the library studying for a test. So when I get home, when I finish studying, I'll check it out. He said, well, you'll see it on the ticker at the bottom. So I didn't even see it on the ticker live initially when it first happened.
You told the general manager of the Oilers, I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. I said this before. Because they did. I said, y'all going to take me. He said, no, we said we're possibly going to. I said, well, that's a play on words.
That dude thought, man.
Yeah, this dude, this the guy we want. Or this guy we don't want. One or two. I was like, well, I'll see it when I get home. So naturally, I'm sitting there. I can't even stay anymore for about 20 more minutes. I got to
sneak home and look at the sticker.
Yeah, because he said, we're taking you for real. Go look at the TV. So once he said that, I kind of believed him, but I was still stunned, and I was a little perturbed. But I still was respectful, but at the same time, I was just being honest.
Do you think you would have been successful anywhere you went in the NFL, or your landing spot helped kind of propel you to what you became?
Well, I think success, it breeds success. So I think I would have had success pretty much anywhere I went. Maybe I wouldn't have been a Pro Bowl player. I would say that because the scheme and the system I went to, had no idea I would be playing safety in that 46 scheme. I definitely thought I would have started, but maybe the scheme fit me so well. If I would have went to, a different scheme, I would have probably just been a starter in the league. Yeah. Good question, though. Yeah. Because I firmly believe that. Now, starting in the end of how many Pro Bowls, I might have made one Pro Bowl. Because the scheme was set up where you had to stop me to really effectively the 46 defense. And because it was a player who's built around multiple skill sets. A guy who's tough, who's smart, who also could play linebacker, who also can play the nickel, who also then could play deep safety. And it had a lot of man-to-man skill sets for all type of players, whether it was tight end, slot receivers, running backs. So once I was out of this defense here in Tennessee, they changed the defense because it's hard to find a player like that.
Sure.
They changed to Schwartzy to cover 2 once I left and went to Philly.
So there's no Blaine Bishop available, but there are 4 Vols, actually 5, because we already had one caller and said, look, no offense, guys, I'd take Cedric Tillman. So we'll put him in the mix. Hooker, Wright, Hyatt, Young. And you were talking about first round. I don't know if Tillman goes in the first round, but maybe we could even just say one of these 5 guys, because the other 4 guys, Hooker probably wind up going in a second. So just say one of those 5 guys. Of those 5 guys, who are you going to go with?
I'm probably going with Darnell Wright. And 11 probably is too high, so I'll probably have to trade back a little bit and go more in the teens. But I would take him there. I know a lot of people saying he's at more 25 and after, but I like what I saw. I take Darnell Wright.
Is he strictly a right side guy?
That's where he had most success. If you do your homework there, when he was on the left, he just seemed like he wasn't the same player. And it all comes with how, I'm going to say, you grew up playing football. So obviously he must have always played right and never played left because he looked like a totally different player. Now, the pedigree was there. He was a 4 or 5 star guy. So obviously he had a lot of talent. But his talent came to fruition there with the coaching staff of Heupel there at the right side. Some guys can't switch back and forth. And that means that's kind of, they didn't play both sides. So you have a stronger leg, and people act like it's easy. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you about an offensive line or any position, even going from right corner, left corner, different foot, different things are used, and you start going through mechanics, and that can kind of change or tweak you, and you're just not used to it. So it's like saying, oh, okay, I'm right-handed, and now I want to play left-handed. Go play left-handed. Thank you. That is how hard it is for some guys. Some guys, it's easy because they've grown up and they just wanted to get on the field, and for whatever reason, they had to play left and right. So it's easy because now the other foot now is the back foot, and then the other hand is the back hand, and then you're reaching with it. And so it becomes little nuances of the game that, you're just not comfortable there. So he looked different. So I really like that. So I like him at the right tackle, and I would be open to taking him there, even though that's probably a stretch for him. Not 11, but 15 and after, I definitely would. So if you see something like that from the Titans trading back, maybe picking up another pick or something, that would be the reason why I would be doing it. Maybe they lost out on the 3 guys they wanted at offensive tackle, but I don't think they will. The highest rated players there. But if that did happen, I think that would be something I would do to try to pick up another pick.
The dream scenario for the Titans is there's a quarterback still there at 11. Just somebody, right? Levis or Richards. Wouldn't that be the dream scenario? Because you'd have people on the phone with you really trying hard to trade. Maybe you'd get the maximum amount. Or if you just thought, well, shoot, this is the guy we like. Just take that guy.
Well, I was wondering where you were going with that at first because you almost messed me up there. Dream scenario, you are right. If a quarterback is available, it's perfect for the Titans, but I'm not taking a quarterback.
Right.
I can't. They have too many holes on the offensive line, and I'd rather start the offensive line. And to me, not unless you trade Tannehill, the decision is made that we're going one more year at least with Tannehill.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to, trade back with someone and then pick up more picks in the, hopefully in the first round, or another third round pick or something like that. So yeah, that would be a dream scenario, but I would be trying to trade if I knew the partner was going to take unless I really loved my player that was there and I wanted that guy and he was number one on our board and we thought he'd be there. I'm taking it. I'm getting really nervous on the offensive tackle because their free agency doesn't look good for me with the Titans to me. Out there to sign someone. So you got to get your tackle. I actually would probably target in free agency more, maybe guard, and then get my tackle,
free agents.
and get my tackle from the draft. Yeah.
I've been thinking about this since this morning. That, like Mike Vrabel has said, he even said it again in Indy. We need to get faster. We need more speed. Mm-hmm. He said it like in the final media availability after the season. Then he said it in Indy. And you think, boy, Jalen fits the speed thing. But here's the other thing about the Titans. They don't want receivers who don't go block people. And the best use of Jalen Hyatt isn't having him out there blocking people down the field.
No. I mean, that's why I said Cedric Tillman fits the parameters of what the Titans like to do as far as his style and what they like to do. He's a physical wide receiver, runs good routes, has big hands. He's a big man, he's a big kid, man. I mean, not a grown man, a 6'3" guy who can beat you deep, quick off the line of scrimmage. All these traits fit Rob Moore in this offense, in the Vrabel, style offense. So. And I don't think they're going to take him first round. I just, as much as you got to love Jalen Hyatt's speed, there's some probably questions on body build as well as how successful will it be when these long 6'2", 6'3" corners get their hands on him. Like a Sauce Gardner or Joey Porter guy. You don't really get to see that in film versus NFL talent. And if he plays in the slot, then you say, is he physical enough to be durable in the slot? Because you're running a lot of quick in and out whip routes. That's kind of not his game. Now, when they run the vertical sets, that's why I think his fit is always, to Robert's point, fit and scheme always helps the player have success in the National Football League. So if he goes to the Rams who run more of a vertical passing game, then now all of a sudden Jalen Hyatt fits all of that. And nobody's talking about, scheme and fit. He fits that, and he can run vertical. If he's not catching the ball, then he's opening it up for everybody else. So I think that'll be vital for him. So I don't know if the Titans would actually go as much as they want speed. I think his style just maybe not quite what they're looking for with the holes that they have. And wide receiver they need, but where is that on the pecking order? That was going to be another question. Like O-line, you go O-line, wide receiver, DB, pass rusher. Now, you can mix the order, but we all know O-line is number one.
It has to be.
So what's number two in need? And then do you force that need or do you go the opposite and get one of the other needs because you're getting the best available player and a high-rated player with that second pick? So all these things happen in a matter of seconds. And you already have to have, that's why you got to have the board already. You take off the guys who already get taken.
Your mind is made up because your board is made up.
Yes.
Yeah, you just remove the guys. Yeah.
So then all of a sudden now you want to take a receiver in the second round and all the guys that you like that fit your scheme and system are no longer available. So then do you start then saying, I'm going to take the best available cornerback that's available, the highest rated on our board? So that's where it changes. So it's never set until the game. I call it a game. You start playing the game. When the game starts, the draft, you start moving the pieces around, and that's fun. It is fun. But boy, man, you're just praying and hoping you're 2 picks away from the guy you want. And just imagine right before you pick, Robert, somebody picks the guy you want. Now you're all screwed and got to go run to the bathroom. You got diarrhea because now you're nervous, never nervous, pervis. And then you can't get your guy. So where you going? You got to think in a matter of 10, what do you get, 10 minutes now? Yeah. That ain't a lot of time. Oh, by the way, we're going to trade this pick. Go pick up more pick. Well, you got to have a partner to tango. Take two to tango.
Yep.
You get screwed. Then all of a sudden, it gets tick-tock, tick-tock. Then you start saying, we're going to just take this player, man. Then they go, oh, dang, we should have done that.
You look back a couple of years ago, that draft for the Titans seemed like everybody they wanted kept leaving the board. Like the
right before their pick.
Draft,
right before their pick. Yep, right before their pick or 2 picks before. You're like, oh, we needed, that's the one.
Because you're like, the perfect dude is right there. If then he goes to the next team that picks.
Now, I will say this. If Hyatt's available in the second round and you go receiver, it could be up to for the debate for him and Tillman.
Let's pick up this discussion and more with our man, Buck Reising. He is driving back from through a windy landscape from Indy. I don't know if it's windy in Indy, but it is windy here, and we will talk to Buck next on Blaine and Mickey.
Now, listen, we have some exciting news for you. For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs for 24 years. And we've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we are now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic start in the backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. DB's running.
Ooh,
Dude
and
from
they
Maryland.
running.
Just ran
Who
a
running?
4.31. He came out of the box and it was like, uh-oh.
Or I was like, woo, 431. I was like, woo. They are moving up. See, now you watch this guy run, you go, he not moving.
Now
447. That's horrible. That's still fast. That's horrible.
So
you
4.31,
and then you see 447. It's like, oh my God, he went to USC. What's his name? Blackman from USC.
That's Buck Reising level speed. As Buck Reising is
we running the Buck.
speeding somewhere through, I don't know, Indiana or Kentucky right now. Buck, whereabouts are you fellas heading back from the combine?
I honestly have no idea because the weather's so bad. It's raining like a mother. So
I went that way.
I don't know. God bless Kirby for driving in this because it is not ideal.
Kirby takes it on as a challenge.
Oh, yeah. He wouldn't have it any other way. If it was sunny and calm, he would not like it. So, Kirby, you guys be careful. Seriously, Buck Reising and the crew. Buck brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople. So let me ask you this. Something you know now, Buck, that you know that you did not know when you got out of your car originally at Indy. What do you know that you didn't know before?
Yeah, you know now.
Oh, I know that towards the end of the John Robinson administration, that those decisions that were being made as far as the roster were concerned were receiving less outside consultation than they had in years and months past, and that had become a more single-minded approach to the roster construction of your Tennessee Titans. That's what I know.
Ooh, you care to go ahead and elaborate some more on what you know there?
I think I just did.
Yeah. So what contributed to that? I wonder for one man to become more of an island in the decision making.
I am not. I think only one man can answer that question, and I'm not sure where he is, but he's not working in football right now.
A lot of great trips I've seen on Instagram, so he's out there just living it up on the available funds that are still coming his way. Buck Reising, Kirby, Lucas, a cast of thousands driving back through bad weather, but taking the time to check with us on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, did we finally get, or are you sure we know if there's a tie between Vrabel and Rand, who running? Who running things?
Wait a minute. The same answer.
Who running
same answer I think I gave you the last time you asked me this question. It's Vrabel.
Well,
I mean,
okay. Well, I didn't know if things may have changed.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't know if something had changed that gave you more insight to that Vrabel kind of has all that. So here's why I asked you that again. And that was because my follow-up to that this time was, why does every time when we make cuts, are we talking about Rand made the cuts and not Vrabel?
Well, it's still technically under his job description. Now, if you want to pin that as a fall guy type of argument.
Yes, that's exactly why I'm saying it. Just like when they draft, they're going to say, Rand drafted those guys when in theory and in reality, Vrabel had more say-so on who was picked, right?
Well, I mean, that's what Rand keeps saying every time we ask him. So at some point, we got to start listening to this man when he's saying, yeah, I'm just coming into the process that was already established. John ran things a lot like they ran them in New England, which is a situation that he's got familiarity with, apparently, from previous work stops past. And what he told me on the radio show is, I'm here to trim the fat. So I asked him to expand on that. He declined to do so with any kind of specificity. But everything that he keeps telling us is that he is there to see how things work and add input where he thinks he can. And right now, that's an ongoing draft process situation with John Robinson's entire staff still intact, other than John Robinson, that Rand Carthon is, theoretically heading up.
I guess lastly for me, I thought you might have learned, who is Tim Kelly about his comments about the Titans offense was unpredictable. Who is he protecting?
Well, yeah, I mean, he probably has a good relationship with Todd Downing, I thought he could have done better in protecting all of them. And now he might honestly, he might be protecting himself a little bit there, because he's obviously part of that staff. So maybe that's hey, what do you mean we were predictable? We were fine on first and second down whenever we threw the ball or whatever, because they were a fairly efficient first and second down passing offense when they did, in fact, throw the ball on first and second down, which by percentage was not more than when they ran the ball on first down specifically. But yeah, I think both things can be true. I think he can not want to take out Todd Downing with public comments about predictability, and also want to acquit himself a little bit, given that he was a part of the staff and then just got promoted internally from the staff or from the side of the ball that everybody was least satisfied with in 2022.
So do you think Downing called all the plays on offense?
I mean, I know that Todd Downing was the play caller. Now, I mean, Blaine, you know this. There's a bunch of people on those headsets. Mike Vrabel's on the headset. Tim Kelly, I assume, on a headset, and, you know, a variety of different offensive assistants involved with, like, hearing the process of the play being called, because we've tried to do this with Vrabel before, and all he did was literally tell us how a play is called, which I always thought was funny. Way to go about that question. But, I mean, it's my understanding Todd Downing called the plays. So whatever that means now, I'm sure whatever call Vrabel liked or didn't like in a certain situation, maybe there was some input that was given, but ultimately they want the responsibility to be on Todd, or did want the responsibility to be on Todd in those moments, even if all of those decisions may not have necessarily been Todd. But it'd be Vrabel, not Tim.
Yes. We on with Buck Reising for the Buck Reising Show.
Buck, do you feel like any more, I don't know, do you feel more certain with what might or might not happen with pick 11 with the Titans after spending some time up in Indy?
You know, I'm getting further and further away from the idea of trading up. Now, theoretically these things could still happen, because once we get the actual draft going, there could be a situation where, you know, they feel good enough about a quarterback to go up and get him, whomever that quarterback might be, and wherever they end up going up, if in this hypothetical. So that's always something that's on the table until the actual draft concludes. But I would say that's really the thing that I'm moving further away as far as, like, things that I feel more concrete about. They still need wide receivers. They still need tight ends. They still need offensive linemen. Unfortunately, with the new combine schedule, the offensive linemen don't speak until tomorrow, and obviously we're on our way back from Indianapolis right now. So I don't know necessarily that the media availability will have any impact on which offensive linemen they choose to select. We just know that they need not just one, but a couple of them.
Who's generating the most buzz in Indy? What player? Like, what guy drew the most crowd, had the most electricity? Who was that guy in your time up there?
Well, I think you can so Nolan Smith obviously is dominating a lot of the discussion today, because the linebackers and defensive lines were the first groups on the field. Now, I know the DBs are going right now, and I'm seeing what I can from Twitter and things like that. But from the drills itself, having only had one group go while we were up there, Nolan Smith, and by the way, was electric at the podium too. He was holding court up there. Now, C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, for obvious reasons, being the two biggest name quarterbacks, being two significantly better quarterback prospects than we've had in the last couple of years, being up there on the podium, discussing a variety of different things, from Bryce Young's size, and that being really the only knock against him in the draft process, and C.J. Stroud coming in with a little bit of self-perceived slight as Bryce Young being the better of the quarterback prospects, even though, you know, in any other year, I think C.J. Stroud would be viewed as the better quarterback prospect from what it is that he offers. I think that, those are the most obvious ones. The wide receiver class is not that this year. It's not star-studded. There's plenty of good players, obviously, but it's not going to have the headliners. Tight ends are less sexy, I guess. So, you know, Darnell Washington and Michael Mayer are, just huge human beings.
Yeah.
But beyond that, the quarterbacks are the thing that people were here to see. Those were the biggest crowd drawers of anything that was up here this week.
Are you prepared for the level of hype that's going to happen tomorrow when Levis and Richardson throw?
You know, I hope to be. I hope to enjoy a little bit of that, because I sure Will Levis's 2022 football season. So, you know, the guy could use a little good publicity around him right now. Now, Richardson is something. Richardson's podium today were interesting, because he addressed a question about his accuracy issues, saying, well, you know, the harder I throw the ball, the less I have problems with accuracy. If I just rip it in there, then it's incumbent upon the wide receiver to catch it. So I'm sure he's going to rip a few of them down the practice field at some wide receivers and get, I don't want to say get frustrated with them if they don't catch them, but he thinks that, the harder he throws the ball, the easier it's going to be to get it to the target rather than the kind of touch and accuracy that you'll need to succeed at the next level. But yeah, we're going to be blown away by him because both of them are they're good prospects. They're going to be first-round picks, and they're going to be throwing routes on air to wide receivers, and we're all going to ooh and ah the same way we did with Malik Willis. And, it'll go on, and we'll see where they land and how important that is to their development as actual players.
Blaine and Mickey, Buck Reising, driving back to Nashville with the crew and hanging out with us for a few minutes here.
Well, I know the quarterbacks as you're talking about them now, but what are you hearing behind the scenes as far as like from the Titans' perspective on the quarterbacks coming out? Is there one that they like if he failed to them that like, this may be a tough decision? Hey, who does know how the draft goes? I don't know what happens here, but hey, if they're at 11 and all of a sudden they have an opportunity to move up to 8 or whatever number, is there any guy that they like that much if there's an opportunity not to move way up in the top 5, but if there's an opportunity to move a couple picks up to get a quarterback, would they even consider it, and who would that be that they like the most?
Well, that is a good question. Now, I think Richardson offers a lot of what, and honestly, it sounds like it might be a surprise to see him fall even that far at this point. But Blaine, I think isn't your line the convention of lies is the combine?
Season of lies. Season of lies.
Season
of rumors. I mean, that's really
all of it. So each year that I do this, I've become a little more skeptical of things that I hear, right? Because it's just all largely nonsense up here. Richardson, I think, offers them the most ability within what it is that they currently want to do, but they kind of already have a quarterback like that on their roster in theory that was supposed to be that kind of player. Now, physically, they're different kinds of individuals between Anthony Richardson, of course, Malik Willis, who I'm referencing. But no, I don't. There's not anything definitive around a first-round quarterback beyond the top 2 that they would jump up there and get. Now, I think they and what I know and what they know and what they've been talking about for quite some time beyond just this week at Indianapolis is they need a better backup quarterback situation. So, it would not surprise me at all to see them consider options day 2 or day 3. I think Hendon Hooker should very much be on the table. I think Josh Dobbs, a return for Josh Dobbs should also very much be on the table for at least training camp while they try to figure out what the hell they have in Malik.
No doubt about it. We're with Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show. Oh, yeah, lastly, I have to ask you this. So, Luke Steckel went on to, I think, the Bears as a coach and left. What was his title, and are they going to fill that position or no?
So he was former tight ends coach Luke Steckel was moved to run game analyst when they made a bunch of the coaching changes. Mike Vrabel did address that. Mike didn't do podium this week because apparently he found out that the head coaches don't have to do the podium. So he said, no, I'll just do the local thing instead. And was talking to us in the local sidebar. He said that they would seek to fill the run game analyst position that has since been created, or at least given a designated title, whether somebody was doing the job the run game analyst will now do before. It's easy to understand how somebody could be doing those responsibilities without having an official title. Now they're designating somebody to it. And what Mike said is there's a lot of different things in the run game that they want to try and do, a lot of specificities as far as execution, technique, and game planning situations that they think there is value there. Now, whether they end up doing it or whether he's just paying lip service to it, we'll wait to see. But he did say that their intention is to fill that role.
There you have it, Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show.
All right, Bucky. Blaine put out a question earlier. Hooker, Darnell Wright, Jalen Hyatt, Byron Young. You can even put Cedric Tillman in there. Which Tennessee Vol, in your opinion, is the best pro prospect? Yeah, and even let's say Rand comes to you and says, I'm going to draft one of these 5 guys in the first or second round or so. You got to pick him. Who would you pick?
Oh, that's easy, Tillman. I mean, they need a wide receiver, Cedric Tillman. I have full confidence that he's going to test well beyond some unforeseen disaster that's going to happen. He's the prototypical wide receiver that everybody wants. In fact, I think he can make himself a lot of money at this combine, given that there's not a bunch of big-bodied wide receivers like that can run with the kind of acceleration and speed that we've seen Cedric Tillman display at the SEC level. We've seen him do it against the best competition. We've seen him go crazy against the best defenses in 2021.
But how does he block? You know that's the most important part.
he blocked. His big-ass blocks well enough for me to draft him. That's all I know.
All right, if caloric intake could get you drafted from the combine, did Lucas make himself in contention for a first-round pick this week with what he ate?
Oh, my.
You know, I think that's I won't completely answer for him, Lucas. They're asking me questions about your caloric intake this week. I would say that I probably exceeded Lucas's caloric intake because of the Kirby says no way. I will say that the richness of the food, and also I'm willing to pay for food. Lucas is out here scavenging from the free media meals. So I would say the richness of the food that I was eating this week probably superseded what Lucas read. Now, I don't know if he actually ate all 5 of the cookies that he was hoarding in front of him during the radio show today. He's saying he has 2 left. Apparently, he saved some for the car ride home. But we know that Kirby always does his due diligence and packs snacks, so I think that was unnecessary and just greediness on Lucas' part.
Buck, Lucas, Kirby heading back. Anything else, Hitman, for Buck before we let him go?
No. When will we see Bud Dupree pay, reduce, cut? I mean, do we got a timeline here? Or we're going to have to wait till June?
You know, I asked a lot of people questions about that up here this week, Blaine, and I got zilch as far as either him or Ben Jones, frankly, because that's something that they need to make a decision on too. So I'm in wait and see mode right now, as much as everybody else is with the Titans and how they're going to alleviate yet more cap space. Because $8 million, I know it's 12 million total, but in reality, $8 million once you account for all the other things that people don't, which is draft class, free, once the season begins, having money for free agents because of injury and, practice squad pool money that you'll need to have. $8 million in effective cap space is not enough for an NFL team to function, especially with a team like this one that needs help all over the board. So cap relief's coming. It's just, it's like injuries with Mike Vrabel. There is and will never be a timeline.
Any talk about Tannehill's money on the way out and maybe them monkeying around with that contract in some way?
Yeah, extension.
Other than Rand Carthon turning a Malik Willis question into a total Tannehill diatribe on my show on Wednesday,
What
guys.
happened?
Like, I asked him a question about Malik Willis. He started talking about Ryan Tannehill, and he was tired of getting questions about Ryan Tannehill's contract status because they've never said publicly, or he's saying it's never come from their building that Ryan Tannehill's not going to be on the roster next year. So, I mean, okay, he can bitch about that if he wants to, but people are still going to ask Ryan Tannehill questions. I understand his logic, by the way. He's trying to be respectful of the player and his family, and they, I think a lot of general managers have the policy that they're not going to negotiate publicly, but also this is your job now, bud. You got to answer the quarterback question every time somebody asks it.
Yeah, it's going to keep getting asked. All right, you boys enjoy splitting 2 cookies 3 ways and drive safe on the way back. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, safe travels.
Laughable to think that Lucas would be sharing those with us, but I appreciate the sound. See you, boys.
All right, Buck Reising on the mean streets between here and Indianapolis. When we come back, it's time to call our shot. I'm going to call mine fast. It's going to be a fast shot.
As fast as these dudes are running in this 40, boy, these DBs are flying.
And we'll update you on that, too. Stick around. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Last segment for us for the week, man. This week has gone by about as fast as these Maryland cornerbacks 40 times. Ja'Corian Bennett, 4.31. Deontay Banks, 4.36. That's the two Maryland corners. Yeesh. Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State, 4.35. Keely Ringo, 4.36. Darius Rush from South Carolina. I know you like him because you've been talking about three of their DBs. He ran a 4.37.
Then the two outside guys was long. He was covering the slot and wasn't getting his hands on him. He was playing from deep. That's what was impressive. He was doing no different than what Alabama was doing, except he was better.
Yeah, these dudes are moving.
4.27, that dude from DJ Turner.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that guy. I didn't know he was fast like that.
So this is, I can show you on my sheet of paper. Call your shot. We do this every Friday. Final segment brought to you by Chattanooga Whiskey 91, an award-winning small batch bourbon, the only Tennessee high malt featuring tasting notes of toasted honey and graham cracker, a real winner, and available at your local retail store. Be sure to enjoy responsibly. So I think Devin A-Chain is going to run the fastest 40. You can see that. Honorable mention, though, for me.
You ain't got to show me.
Was Michigan cornerback DJ Turner.
Oh.
So I knew that guy was going to run fast.
Oh, you did?
He ran over 23 miles per hour in a game this year.
Oh.
And he just ran a 4.27. Mm-hmm. He's going to be tough to beat.
Please. I'm going to predict Jalen Hyatt.
Oh, boy.
Is going to run under 4.2.
What?
Yes. Track speed, and this is what this is. It's a track meet. And this dude is stronger than he was in high school, and he's faster. He's going to run 4.18. Yeah. And everybody going to be talking about, is he faster than Deion Sanders?
Okay, I might have to look at this because that would be the top all-time.
I don't even know what it is. I know CJ2K ran 4.24.
The top all-time is your guy, literally your guy, John Ross, wide receiver from Washington, 4.22.
Well, okay, I'm going to give it that. He's going to beat that time.
Oh, my gosh.
I think he's going to beat that time.
That's the record.
4.22, he's going to be 4.22. And I guarantee you that's his goal.
Okay.
I hope somebody asks him come tomorrow. Whenever he gets on they said what do you think he'll run? He said the fastest ever in the combine history. It should be his answer.
Yeah, it's several people who've run under a 4.3 here historically. It's like 10 guys or so looking at this list.
Mm-hmm. The track is fast. These guys are running. I've never seen this many DBs run 4.3s and 4. I mean, this is just ridiculous, man.
Think they hammered down the turf a little bit in the dome there because they are scooting on this thing.
No, I just think the dude's just faster. They're better trained. They're more equipped. Here's why I say that. It's not just when they finish college and training with the guys. It's like now that process has started when they were in high school. And everybody knows now if you run track, even though you may be getting your butt kicked as a football player, your goal is ultimately just to be a faster football player. So now you're looking at your goal differently. And so then when they start developing and then getting stronger throughout college, then all of a sudden they go to this and they go, oh, man, this is all familiar to me. I can run this. This is easy. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, boom, now you got something that's off the charts. Because they're not ever training like this to play football, to run a fast 40. They're training, but there's no track coaching. And then most of you can't run track. I ran track. I ran indoor naturally just to help me because I always thought that would be an issue. Can I be a consistent 4.4 guy? Mm-hmm. And I was running, 50, 55 meters and wasn't even placing. Ball State in indoor. But it helped me get faster. See, the ultimate goal was for me, not necessarily, trying to get some points for your track team. So, yeah, I think Jalen Hyatt's going to run the fastest 40 in combine history, which would be a 4.21. According to you, right? It'd
be a 4.21. Yeah, John Ross has the record 4.22. Kalen Barnes from Baylor a couple of years ago, 4.23. CJ2K ran a 4.24. Tariq Woolen from Texas San Antonio ran a 4.26 last year. Mm. Dree Archer, remember him from Kent State, little bitty dude. Mm-hmm. He ran a 4.26. That dude could fly. I mean, he got.
I just can't 4.2.
I actually brought him up to Ramon Foster today. I love talking to him about former Steelers that I thought I was going to hate.
Yeah.
And I asked him, why did he not catch on? And he said he just wasn't the fastest guy on the field anymore. He didn't like getting hit, and he would wonder on kickoffs why guys could get to him so quick. That he just Dree Archer, the Kent State running back, wide receiver, gadget guy. And because I was infatuated with him in the draft process, and then it came around, and
he's a third-round pick,
and the Steelers got him
2 years.
I remember Mike Tomlin talking about him saying that he was like a luxury pick, that we felt lucky that we were able to take him here, and then he kind of just fizzled out.
Yeah,
Thank God for unanswered
small
prayers.
gadget guys, man. They just
once the trick is gone, and they're just a little dude that gets hit a lot by other people.
Yeah, the field is not wide. Like, that guy would do great in the CFL.
Oh, yeah.
Because the field is real wide. But y'all don't understand. In 10 yards, linebackers are as fast as these receivers. See, that's the difference between college and pro. So they can get to you. And then all of a sudden you start getting that Rydell hit off or whatever helmets they're using now. You be like, I don't want no parts of that. I don't want none of that, man. This field need to get wider.
All right,
the field starts looking real small as time goes on.
Our time is getting real small. We got to get out of here. 3HL, they got you next. My fastest guy, I think the guy's going to do it, is Devon A-Chain. I think he will be the fastest guy. I'm gonna hang my hat on that. Texas A&M, track guy too.
There's some guy from Cincinnati, the Bearcats.
Yeah,
I forgot
Tyler
his name.
Scott.
Yeah, everybody's waiting to see him run. I think he's going to be up there too.
I got to rep my Pirates, though. Keaton Mitchell, running back. I think he's going to be the fastest running back. I'm not a homer.
CJ.
Not a homer.
Just like CJ. All right, we got to go. Enjoy the combine this weekend. We'll wrap it all up on Monday.
In the meantime,
in between time,
peace.